Hey guys, so I was on Facebook earlier doing my video just to give you guys an update on the school situation with my son. So um, now I've come to talk about something else I was talking about on that video, but I didn't feel as though I could talk about it on Facebook because they flag you for any and everything. Um, Now, my son told me earlier he was in school and they had an assembly for Martin Luther King Day today. So he said, excuse me, he said that um, the kindergartners were singing. They did like a little show or whatever, which was nice. And he said that teachers had speeches. They were coming up talking about Martin Luther King and things of that nature. So they also had like a slideshow where they were showing videos of Martin Luther King and things like that. And they apparently showed the video of when he got arrested. So a kid said when they were talking about that part, he was like, "Yay!" Like he was celebrating, like "Yay, he got arrested" type thing. And the teachers, of course, were, you know, mad about it, of course, and he was not one of ours. So he said that, and you can't get mad at the kid. First of all, you cannot. Um, because this child was trained. He was trained to feel that way by, people that he knows. Sometimes it's not even family, it might be a friend of his that is that way and might have him, acting, like, yeah, you got to feel this way about him and this and that. So then he copies that. So, because he's friends and that's what his friend does. So he thinks it's the right thing to do and then it's okay. So you really can't get mad at the kid. Can't really get mad at the friend either because more than likely he was taught. But it's very unfortunate. And I know there's a lot of issues. People, a lot of people will say, oh, segregation was wrong, this and that and the third, and, they're happy about the integration and all that kind of stuff. Me and my husband feel differently. And I'll tell you why. We watched a video where they were talking about the girl, and I don't want to say her name wrong, but I probably will because I don't quite remember her name. I think it was Ruby D, but it was a little girl that she was the first one that they sent to the school, and the white men were ushering her in and everything like that, like trying to be protection of her from the white people that were saying mean things and throwing stuff at her and just being evil because that's what they are. And she was going to the school. So not only, and the child was like about six or seven. Not only, and it happened when they started to allow black people to go to the white schools, and there was a lot of white people, especially in the South, that were not happy about it. Probably in the North too, but in the South they showed their butts, and they weren't happy about it. But not only did they had to usher her in, all these big men, Caucasian men, had to usher her into the school to make sure that nobody, Caucasian touched her or hurt her. Physically, that is. They had to usher her inside of the school. And once she got into the school, it was said that the other children didn't want to sit next to her. So she had to sit off by herself. And the teacher would, like had to go over there and talk to her and this and that. Like it couldn't be a group thing. It was like separatism still in the school. So It's like, what good did that do? You just sent her into a place where she's still being separate. She's still being, now it's like up in her face, because maybe when she was with her parents, they can kind of block her from that and she wouldn't be subjected to it like right up in your face. But now she's being subjected to it because you sent her to this place where those people's children are. And the children do what their parents do. So they didn't even want her around and made it known. So it's like, you know, yeah, that happened back in the 60s or 50s or whenever it happened. 60s, I believe. Some people might say, oh, that's long ago. That was 60, 70 years ago, whatever. You know, it wasn't that long ago. It wasn't. And granted, even if it was long ago, it still happened, and it wasn't right. And, I don't like the fact when something bad happens and people say, oh, well, that was long ago. Just forget about it or don't say anything about it, this, that, and the other, because it's a lot of things that happened a long time ago to a lot of other people that aren't this. And if we were to say to them, oh, forget about it, why are you talking about it? It happened so long ago. Don't worry about it. Move on from it. And this and that, the same ignorant stuff that they say to us. If we were to say that to those people, you're done. Curtains, okay? You are finished. So we should get the same respect. But I'm going to tell you why we don't. I'll tell you why we don't. And why people feel so free and brazen to talk about us. The reason why is because we don't demand respect, and we don't stand up for ourselves, and we don't treat each other right. Now, I feel like, some people say, oh, well, you expect other people to give you respect and you don't even respect each other, yourselves. You got black on black crime, black people killing black people, this and that and the other. Well, you know what? You got white on white crime too. You got white people killing other white people. But do they get disrespected like we do? No, they don't. You got Mexicans killing other Mexicans. Now, do they get disrespected like we do? No. See, my point is there's bad people in every race of people. Asian, Mexican, Spanish, black, white, Portuguese, whatever. There's bad people in every group. But it seems like ours always gets put under the microscope and gets picked on and try to pull apart and dissect it. And as soon as we do something that's out of line, here they come with the, oh, well, this and that and the other. But let their people do something that's out of line. Nobody says nothing. Everybody's quiet. Crickets. And why is it like that? Well, it's like that because their people control most of everything on this planet. And when you have power and someone is doing something to you that you don't like or that you don't want, you have ways to hurt them to where they couldn't even imagine. You have ways to stop their money coming in. You have ways of them not being able to send their children to school. You have ways of making their life miserable and have them not being able to do much of anything. You have that when you have power. We don't have any power. The power that we had, they took, and then we never really did much to get it back. So that's why they can talk about us the way they do. That's why they can treat us the way they do. That's part of the reason. Also, the other part is because we don't have respect for each other. The way black men talk about black women is deplorable. The way black women talk about black men is deplorable. Um, the way we treat our children is terrible. The way we treat one another is just downright disgusting and despicable, and it needs to stop. People will say, oh, well, how do you expect these people to have respect for you and you don't even respect yourselves? That's true to a degree, okay? Because no matter how badly I'm treating someone, it's not you, but it could be somebody else of this hue. No matter how bad I'm treating them, that still doesn't give you the right to start going and treating them bad too. It don't work like that. They be like, oh, well, that's why they kill us, because we kill each other. In some bizarro world, that might ring true, but that is not the reason why they do what they do. They do what they do because they like doing it and they can get away with it, and they've been doing it for forever, and they're going to continue to do so unless we do something to put a stop to it. What that something is, I don't quite know. But we need to do something, and we need to start by treating each other better. We need to have respect for one another. We need to love one another. We need to embrace one another instead of beat each other down. We need to help each other and build each other up. We all need to come up together, not just separate ones, piece by piece by piece. We all need to come up together as a people. Can we have allies? I guess there's nothing wrong with having allies. But those allies need to step back for a minute and let us do what we have to do. We need to heal as a people, as a community. We need to heal, and then we can do other things like have allies and have them help us with certain stuff and this and that and the other. But we got to get together. We got to get right first before we start trying to recruit or have other people to do stuff for us. We got to do for ourselves. We have to get our minds right. We have to stick together. We have to love one another. We have to get educated as a people so we can grow as a people. And then once we grow and get to that point of where we're good, then we can work as a collective to have other allies and have other people come in and help us. But we can't do that right now because we're not ready. We're not ready. But we need to get ready. And I'm seeing now that, unfortunately, let me get my charger. Hold on, guys. It's only going to be a couple of us that will actually be able to be down with that type of movement. There's some of us that are just going to be too scared to try something different because we've been conditioned to be this way, by our parents or grandparents, whatever. So we've been conditioned to be this way, and we're just going to stay this way. And some of us don't see that anything is wrong. We think everything is fine because we live in la la land and wear rose-colored glasses, so we think everything is perfect the way it is. And it's not. Some of us think because we're married to people of the other persuasion that nothing's going to happen to us. Well, I guess nothing will happen to you if you're in the car with that person all the time, or you're out with that person all the time, but let you be by yourself. And they just feel like messing with you. They don't mess with you, regardless. But it's terrible, and just because even if you are with a person that's of the other hue, it doesn't protect you from anything. It doesn't give you a free pass. If they want to mess with you, they're going to mess with you, and they're going to mess with that person too. And they're probably going to mess with them even harder because they're going to see them as traitors because they're with you and not one of their own. So keep that in mind too. It's just a terrible thing to, I can't even imagine what that little girl went through. Like, that's horrible for her to have to go through that. And now she's an older woman. And she said, although she was a child, so she really didn't understand the gravity of the situation, all she knows is that it made her feel bad. Made her feel like she was a bad person, like she had did something wrong, like she didn't belong. And that breaks my heart, because you guys know I go hard for the kids all day and all night. I'm not, about the BS when it comes to the kids. So I'm like, why would her parents do that to her? Why would they subject that to that type of treatment, subject her to that? Like, that is so not right. Me and my husband both like, what was they thinking, and this and that and the other. And the reason why I say that, because some people will be like, oh, well, she paved the way. She made it better for us to be able to go to school. No, she didn't. You know what would have been paving the way and what would have been better? What would have been better is, okay, let's say she goes through that for about 6 months to a year. Once she went through that, miraculously, by the hand of God or the turn of the universe, they started treating us with respect. They started making us feel welcome. They started treating us the way we're supposed to be treated. They started treating us as human beings and not 3/5 of a human. They started to give us respect. That would have made it worth it. That would have made it better. That would have made it worth the assassination of Martin Luther King, the assassination of Malcolm X, the, not assassination of her because she's still living, but the mistreatment of that child, and everyone else. The burning down of our churches, the burning down of our towns that we had established. It would have made all of that worthwhile if we still weren't being treated that way today. But we are still being discriminated against. We are still being killed without reason and with no explanation, and impunity. They get away with it. Nobody cares. Nobody says anything. White women are getting kidnapped, getting killed, getting raped, getting sold into sex trafficking. Girls, boys. Just because you don't hear about it in your neck of the woods doesn't mean that it's not going on. I watch the news, international and national, and I hear about it. If it's not going over here in the U.S., then it's going on over somewhere else. It's still going on. And we are still being disrespected over here. We are still not being treated fairly over here. Just because a couple of us got some money and got a nice place to live and a good job and all that, doesn't mean that we're immune from being treated like second-class citizens, because we still are. We still are. They're not going to treat us any better just because we got a 6-figure job. They're not going to treat us better just because we're married to someone that looks like them. They're still going to treat us the same way. Because at the end of the day, you're still a you-know-what to them. Doesn't matter. And it's sad. And it's terrible. And I wish it wasn't like that. But it is. And we need to realize that, recognize it, and accept it, and do something about it. Because it's not going to change just by people coming on and making videos and people, being keyboard warriors and all that. Nothing is going to change until we stand up together and do something about it. Now, like I said, all of us are not going to do it. Some people, For whatever reason, they're just not gonna. Okay, let them people go then. Let them go. And let us do something. Well, let the ones that want to do something, it's not afraid to do something, do something. Let's get together and do something. I don't know what that something is, except for the couple of things I mentioned. But if it's something else, then let's do that too. You know, like, we got to do something, guys. This should not still be happening. It should not. But anyway, I heard something that I heard it a while ago. I think maybe like a few years ago, maybe back when I was living in Florida. I'm not sure. I think so though. And I'm not sure if it's true or not. So maybe you guys know something about it. Maybe you can enlighten me, because I've been doing research, and with the research, there's some that says he did, and there's some that say it was rumored, and there's some that say that he didn't. So I don't know if he did or not, to be honest. But let's just say I wouldn't be shocked if it did happen, but just very disappointed. So what I heard was Martin Luther King, one of our great civil rights activists, all the good that he did, in all the good that he did, or everything that he tried to do to help, our people. Okay, I give him props for that, because he was just trying to help and do what he thought was right, by us. So, okay. But with him doing that, I also heard that he had an affair with someone of the other persuasion. I heard there was, some mixing going on, some vanilla and some chocolate, and this was why he was married to Coretta, married to her, had kids with her, and everything. And he did this. And she still, forgave him, still stuck by him. I guess she found out, or, whatever, but still, heard people talking about it or what have you. And she still stayed by him. That was the story that I heard. And I've been hearing it a lot from different people. So I'm starting to think that it has some validity to it. Even though I don't want it to. So if it is true, I can just say I am utterly, utterly disappointed in this person. I cannot, in good faith celebrate anything about them if this is true. And the reason why I say that, because some people are like, oh, well, it was, between him and his wife. It had nothing to do with us, this and that and the other. Well, once you start coining people as your civil rights leader, as your activist, as somebody in the community that we're supposed to look up to and give praise to and have a holiday about and celebrate about and this and that and the other, that's a problem. I can't do that if this person did that, because that, if they did that, displays their character or lack of. Okay? If you can do that and cheat on your spouse, what else are you cheating on? What else are you cheating with? Are you really sincere about the cause? Because you wasn't sincere with your marriage vows, because if you was, you wouldn't have did what you did. So that just leaves to question a lot about a person's character. So if that person did that, then I can't, in good faith, celebrate anything about that person. If they didn't do it, then I apologize, and I'm sorry for feeling the way that I did, because I did feel some type of way when I first heard it. I immediately, oh, well, how could he? Well, I don't know. So it's not fair to judge unless you have all the facts, and I'm still doing research, so I don't know yet. I'm hoping that he didn't, because that's not good. Um, but at any rate, if you guys know something about it, you can let me know, and we can try to figure it out or whatever. But, I just hope that he didn't. I'll be glad if and when they have a Malcolm X Day, but we know that's not going to happen. But my son said he's doing a book report on Malcolm X. He's like, his name was actually Malcolm Little. I'm like, yeah, it's Malcolm Little. Detroit Red, that's what they call him. Yeah. But they're not going to have no holiday commemorating him or anything because he was too militant. No. Power to the people. But he was too militant. But he's someone that I admired. But with all that being said, gotta go pick up my husband. We gotta get ready to go to Kuman and see what they're gonna do. And I'll get back with you guys and we'll talk more about things and issues, and I'll come back with some things that I believe that can help you also health-wise. So until later, peace out, family.